Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloe in Abuja. So the summit on judicial reform still continues, of course, and we're monitoring what is being said by experts and judicial officers in respect of how the judiciary can be moved forward. Of course, we know the importance of delivering good judgment out of our courts. So let's bring you up to speed with what has been said today. It was some kind of agreement today at the end of the meeting of judicial officers and legal practitioners, looking forward to creating some reforms in a summit put together by the Nigerian Bar Association and the Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice. And they are asking that there needs to be more funding to help the judiciary. Take a listen to some of what they agreed upon today.
These reform initiatives aim to reposition the Nigerian justice system through a combination of constitutional, statutory, and operational changes. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure improved access to justice and greater efficiency in justice administration. The first priority area is the judicial appointments process. We believe that that is a foundational matter, because if we don't get the judicial appointments process right, it is difficult to build anything significant on top of that. So the judicial appointments process is one, and they're all related thematic areas. The second is funding. If we don't get the funding and administration and budgeting for the courts right, it is difficult to get the courts to function effectively.
All right, there you have it. Let's also tell you that the President Bola Tinubu, has today appointed Mr. Jim Ovia as a chairman of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. This has been one of the agenda of the Bola Tinubu government to allow the students be able to seek credit facility to run their academic program. Mr. Ovia is the founder of one of Nigeria's leading banks and a respected business leader, and who will be sitting as a chair of the board of the Nigerian Education Fund. The Nigerian Education Fund is the implementing institution of the innovation to guaranteeing a sustainable higher education and functional skill development for all Nigerian students and youths. All right, tonight, the president is in Netherlands, and there is the Nigeria-Netherlands Business Forum, which the president has attended that meeting alongside some of the critical players or leaders within the Nigerian economic sphere. So they are meeting and looking for ways to partner with Netherlands. But what is in it for Nigeria? What can Nigeria gain with the business with Netherlands? Tonight we'll be dissecting it. Just when the CBN said that, look, the Naira is emerging to be a leading or one of the most performing currency in the globe, we're seeing a slide in the performance of the Naira to the dollar. What exactly is going on? Are the policies of the CBN sustainable? What is happening with the FX corridor and what is going on with the Nigerian economy? We'll be getting to dissect all of these issues. And of course, we will tell you what is going on also in the APC. Those who have concern with the leadership of the party. So stick around with me, everyone. I will get the expert to talk about all of this. But first, let's serve you with some of your political roundup stories.
The governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, is confident that the new Edo master plan will be passed into law. He says incoming administrations will be risking prosecution if the documents are not implemented. The governor was speaking in Benin City, the Edo State capital, following the conclusion of a series of stakeholder engagements across the state to get public opinion on the proposed development plans for the state. Mr. Obaseki explains that the regional development and Benin City master plans will be the template to administer governance in Edo State over the next 30 years.
This sensitization exercise is to begin to build the bridge between government, the way government is thinking, what government says its purposes are, and the interests of the people.
The House of Representatives says plans are ongoing to reposition the health sector through adequate funding. The Chairman House Committee on Health Institutions, Mr. Amos Magaji, stated this during an oversight inspection by the Committee on Health to the David Umahi Federal University Teaching Hospital, Uburu, in Ohozara local government area of Ebonyi State. According to Magaji, the vision for the institution as a health center falls in line with the 10th National Assembly's vision, which is aimed at redirecting medical tourism back to Nigeria. There's a need to review electoral laws and procedures to ensure proper funding for the judiciary and implementation of measures for quick and efficient justice delivery. This consensus was reached at the just concluded National Summit on Justice 2024, organized by the Federal Ministry of Justice and the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, in Abuja. Mr. Babatunde Ajibade, SAN, highlighted that the summit discussed the adoption of a new national policy on justice, expected to address core issues in the justice sector. Some concerned members of the ruling All Progressives Congress from Kogi State are asking the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to refrain from what they're describing as a media trial against the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello. At a news conference in Abuja, spokesperson of the group, Mr. Jesutega Onokpasa, says the public is being presented with the impression that the EFCC is fighting corruption. He alleges that the commission is actually engaging in a personal vendetta on behalf of and at the behest of some persons in government determined to bastardize institutions in Kogi State. Meanwhile, the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Mr. Shehu Gabam, says the party is in support of the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's approach in handling the ongoing investigations into the administration of former governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello. Speaking to journalists in Abuja, Mr. Gabam described as shameful how some political office holders are using the resources of the country for their personal interests.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So let's get started with our conversation tonight. And our attention is going to be on what the business of President Tinubu and his team in faraway Netherlands. The president has been attending the Nigeria-Netherlands Business and Investment Forum in The Hague, where the president has emphasized the pivotal role of the ties between both countries in helping to strengthen the Nigerian economy and the trade relations between both countries. The president is saying that both countries must explore more creative channels of collaboration, whether it is through partnerships, joint ventures, or strategic alliances in order to build bridges that connect markets and facilitate the flow of goods, services, ideas, and peoples. The president says his administration is enhancing a business environment in Nigeria to make it very friendly through various reforms, adding that these measures include the cleaning up of our foreign exchange market to make it more transparent for seamless business transactions, removal of the fuel subsidy, and the readiness of the CBN to provide the necessary window to allow foreign companies repatriate their profits, among several other issues. And of course, you can see there on the screen, there are some of major players within the president's cabinet that are present at that meeting. Those who are some ministers, including Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Trade, Foreign Affairs Minister. But what does this mean? All of these bilateral relations, and because the Minister of Economy is also there, Wale Edum. What are these meetings and these conversations? What do they mean for Nigeria? Because in all of these conversations, what matters is the bottom line, the Nigerian people. How much of food can be provided on the table, monies in the pocket, salaries in the purse of the average Nigerian worker, and the production on Nigerian soil. I've joining me, Mr. Muda Yusuf is an economist who joins us virtually live from Lagos. Thank you so much, Mr. Yusuf, for joining us tonight. Let me begin by you giving us an appreciation of just how much of a boost could a business with Netherlands mean. what is doing business or trade transactions or relations with Netherlands? What does it mean for an economy like Nigeria?
Well, the visit posed a lot of promise for the Nigerian economy, given the gaps that we have and given the current development aspirations of the present administration. Netherlands has very strong capacities and capabilities in the area of agriculture, particularly tech-driven agriculture, in the area of ICT, and in the area of logistics, So, and there's a lot that we can benefit from that. And I'm sure that some of the engagements that are taking place are concerning this trip is how to leverage on this partnership to be able to strengthen our agricultural sector in the line of, taking into account the challenges we have with respect to food security, productivity in agriculture, and all of that. There's also a lot to learn or to benefit from partnership in the area of ICT, because Netherlands are also very strong country. They have strong capacities in the area of ICT, innovation, and all of that, just as we have heard from the Minister for Communications Technology. So, and of course, also in the area of port logistics. The Rotterdam port is the largest port in Europe. And in line with all the efforts of the administration, to modernize, to allow a technology-driven port system, international trade system, there's also a lot of things that we can gain from, partnership in the area of developing our ports, particularly in the area of, technical cooperation, in the area of attracting investment, and so on. So to that extent, I think the visit holds a lot of promise from an economic and business relations point of view.
You're very apt there, and you look at the statistics, which tells us perhaps the reason why this is also important. Some would think, why is it necessary for the president to be attending? And particularly some of the personnel in the cabinet that are there, and you are very apt. You look at it, Netherlands is the second largest exporter of agri-produce in the world. And you mentioned Rotterdam port also. And these are also very important for exportation. Innovation is also very critical. Netherlands owes about 20% the GDP of Netherlands, for example, is about 10% of 20% of their agri-produce, which means that there's a whole lot of lesson that Nigeria can learn from Netherlands' experience. From your own point of view, for those who are asking, production. If there is one immediate thing that Nigeria can take away from that experience, what would that be?
No, of course, this kind of interaction has to precede whatever concrete actions will come, in terms of investment. And don't forget, I think the focus of this kind of visit is actually to facilitate technology transfer, one, technical cooperation, two, and foreign direct investment. These are the key areas of focus. And you need to engage at this level to have a preliminary, engagement before concrete investments can follow. After the diplomatic engagements that we have seen, I'm sure there will be a parallel engagement on the side of the private sector. I'm sure there are quite a formidable private sector delegation that has gone with the president. So in terms of activating the investment dimension of this visit, it is the private sector players that will now take it off from where the president has stopped, because it's like preparing the ground for the private sector to be able to partner with their counterparts in Netherlands in practically all these critical areas where we have identified that Netherlands have some very strong competencies and capabilities. So it's like preparing the ground, and of course, the results may not be immediate, but for me, I think it is laying the foundation for much better investment flows to happen and for much better technological cooperation to happen. So that is the way I see it. I mean, it's like laying the foundation for some of these things to develop into concrete, to crystallize into concrete investment outcomes.
Innovation is very key in the economy of Netherlands. But one thing that I'm seeing, which may be a negative for Netherlands, is the aging economy, which means that the workforce in their economy will need some kind of personnel, in which Nigeria has in enormity, has huge young population. Netherlands has aging population. And you think that there's an opportunity for a lot of Nigerians who are looking for such an opportunity?
Well, a bit of audio issues, but I think there are opportunities across board. Because I mean, the president talked about the fact that you have a young, demographic population, which could provide a lot of opportunities, both for domestic development and even for also some very constructive and positive migration to those countries, to also develop themselves and broaden the scope of the cooperation and also the scope of their experience. So the cooperation along the demographics and taking advantage of the fact that we have useful population and taking advantage of what our young population is doing around ICT, because that is one area where Netherlands has very strong competencies. So we can leverage on that. Of course, we have challenges around insecurity, out of school children and all of that. But in spite of that, we know that our young Nigerians, the youthful population, are doing quite a lot in the area of ICT, in the area of innovation and all of, and there's a whole lot of opportunities around that. So we expect that a lot should happen in terms of partnership, in terms of opportunities for our young people, particularly in the ICT space, to be able to take advantage of this relationship that the president is seeking to further deepen or to further strengthen. And I also listened to the Minister of Agriculture talking about leveraging technology for agriculture. One of the biggest problems we have had in this country is that we are not leveraging technology to boost our agriculture. That is why we don't have our youths in the agricultural space. Most of the agricultural activities are still, depending on hoes and cutlasses, traditional ways of farming. That cannot help our food security. That cannot transform our agricultural sector. So there's a need to accelerate, the leveraging of technology, improvement in the yield, improvement in the cultivation technologies, improvement in all manner of ways in which we can leverage technology and encourage a lot more young people to go into agriculture, because the agricultural population in Nigeria is aging. And unless we get the young people interested in that, in that sector, the sector will stagnate, as we are beginning to see. And to get the young people to go into agriculture, it has to be technology-driven. I think that is one major thing I think should form the outcome of this visit in terms of collaboration between Nigeria and Netherlands in the area of the technology-driven agriculture.
I think there is also a lot to learn. If you look at the freedom of the economy, you see that Netherlands is the 8th freest economy in the world. Nigeria sits 125th in the world. And what Netherlands and the countries like Switzerland, they thrive on is the rule of law, efficient legal system. These are some of the issues that also will help the economic freedom of a country, and which, of course, Netherlands has a lot of that. Nigeria has not so much of it. You think that we can have some learning to do with the Netherlands in this kind of fora?
Well, again, so a bit of audio issues, not clearly. But I know that Netherlands has a GDP of over a trillion US dollars. It's one of the biggest economies in Europe. And when you are relating with, our economy is just about 400 plus billion US dollars. Although we have a recent estimate from IMF saying that our economy is much smaller. But whatever it is, we have a big economy, at least within the context of Africa. And Netherlands, of course, a $1 trillion economy is quite a big economy. And when you have this kind of relationship, there is a whole lot, that the country can benefit from them, because Netherlands is ahead of Nigeria in so many areas. So there are a lot of opportunities for imports that can support our capacity for productivity, not necessarily import of finished goods, but import that can support capacity for productivity and competitiveness. There are also opportunities for exports. We are talking about developing and enhancing more investment in our oil and gas sector. Netherlands is also very, very critical in that sector. Although, there's a flip side to that, because I know up until recently, we import a lot of petroleum products, also refined petroleum products from the Netherlands. Now, with our improvement in domestic refining of petroleum products, that window of opportunity may not be something that they will be too happy about. But there's a whole lot of areas in which we can have this partnership with an economy of the size of Netherlands. There's a whole lot of areas.
Yeah, a whole lot of areas, but like you said, digitization of the economy of the Netherlands, very critical. In areas of IT, very good. Areas of agriculture and export, very good. But one thing I mentioned earlier also is the freedom of the market, of the economy. And the corruption there, the indices are very low compared to Nigeria. And I was asking, I don't know if you can get me right now, and I was asking how this can also help Nigeria, if perhaps you can take one or two things out of the meetings that is going on.
Well, I think that a lot of the outcomes of this visit will depend on how quickly and how effectively the private sector can leverage on the opportunities that it provides. In the statement issued by the presidency, I didn't hear much about the private sector delegation. I haven't seen much information as to who is part of the delegation from the private sector. But what I want to say is that in order to optimize the opportunities from this kind of engagement, there has to be always a very strong private sector delegation accompanying the president, not necessarily at the expense of government. Many of the private sector players have their own capacity to fund this trip. And we must also ensure that we pick people that are relevant to the sectors on which the engagements are likely to take place. I don't know, we don't have information yet on that. But to the extent that I think there's a proposal for Nigerian Netherlands business forum or something in Netherlands, I expect that proposal, that summit, that forum to be populated more by the private sector people. And the private sector are also seeking partnerships. And when you have partnerships that are supported by government, you have a lot more results, a lot more outcomes. There's a lot more credibility, even for the private sector, when they are in a presidential delegation like this. So those are the ways I think we can optimize the opportunities of this kind of visit.
One of the things that the president easily raised at that meeting, and which he says that one of the reasons why the Netherlands also need to look into involving themselves in doing business with Nigeria, is the fact that the president thinks that the present administration is cleaning up the foreign exchange market, which I like your comment on. First and foremost, the CBN came out to say, look, based on the analysts and experts, global experts analysis saying that the Naira is perhaps going to be one of the best performing currency in the world. But in the last few days, it does look like there is a slide in the performance of the Naira. Can the CBN and this government sustain the performance of the naira against the dollar. We thought that it was going towards 1,000 and looking like it was going to go below 1,000. But in the last 2 days, things have changed.
Well, the fact is that this reform, this economic reform, whether we are talking of reforms in the monetary and foreign exchange space or in the fiscal space, these are reforms that we can regard as work in progress. We have seen some gains. We have seen a bit of sliding back and all of that. But to the extent that it is work in progress, we learn as we progress with the reforms, because no reform process is perfect. So as we progress, there will be lessons to learn about how well we can, better ensure much better outcomes. Now we are dealing with a market, and the Nigerian foreign exchange market is also full of a lot of imperfections from a market point of view. So, and these imperfections need to be recognized, they need to be identified. Some of these imperfections are also things that are also fueling speculative activities, a lot of illicit transactions in the foreign exchange market that are distorting the whole dynamics in the foreign exchange market. And the central bank response has been to deal with this issue both from a monetary policy point of view, I'm talking about the liquidity management point of view, and more importantly, from a regulatory point of view. Because what we are seeing in the last few months is that there are quite a number of loose ends, a lot of malpractices going on in the market, a lot of things to tidy up in terms of surveillance and things like that. I think that is where I think the CBN has a much more work to do. We have made some progress, no doubt, given where we are coming from, but there's still a lot more work to do. Secondly, the issue of the volatility in the foreign exchange market is something that we need to take up very, very seriously. This is not now about whether the naira is exchanging for 2,000 or for 1,005 or for 1,100. No. Stability and minimization of volatility is extremely very important. So as we progress with these reforms, and as we address all these gaps in the market, foreign exchange market space, we should also put in place a framework to ensure that we minimize volatility in the foreign exchange market. Because persistent volatility can lead to a loss of confidence. And once confidence begins to collapse or begins to be eroded, it further fuels speculation, it creates uncertainty, it makes the whole environment unpredictable, and that is not good for investment. So I think as a matter of priority, since we are approaching or we are dealing with a system which we have regarded as a managed float. Managed float means that from time to time, the CBN will have to manage the situation to minimize volatility, to keep the rates within a particular corridor, within a framework that is sustainable, within the context of the capacity to support the currency. I think as part of the mandate of the central bank has a responsibility to also ensure that we minimize this volatility. We cannot leave the market entirely to the market forces. It is not done anywhere, especially in a market with so much imperfections. So there has to be a framework to ensure that we modulate or moderate the fluctuations and the swings in the foreign exchange market. I think that is extremely very, very important for confidence of investors and to reduce the level of speculative activities in the economy.
Mr. Amanda Yusuf, thank you so much indeed for your insight on some of these issues relating to the economy and the way forward. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We take a break, everyone, and when we return, our attention will be on the politics of the APC, the internal wranglings and the leadership issues. The national chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, is faced with a lot of issues. How will he be able to journey through some of these issues? We'll talk about it when we return from this break, everyone. Let us go. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's tell you, we were just talking about President Bola Tinubu having a meeting at the Nigeria-Netherlands Business Forum, but now the president has since arrived in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to attend a special meeting of the World Economic Forum. The president concluded an official visit to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. He will be attending the Leaders and Global Collaboration meeting in Riyadh on the growth and of energy in the global space, and we use the opportunity of over 1,000 leaders from business, government, and academia to pitch ideas for the interest of Nigeria. The meeting is to be attended. It's slated for the 28th and 29th of April 2024. That's the president there arriving in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. There's been a lot happening lately in the All Progressives Congress, APC, and of course, we saw what is happening in Kano. On one hand, there's some activities also within the party, and there's some agitation. All of a sudden, there are those who are saying that the national chairmanship of the party should go back to the North Central. But why? There was a protest. See what's happening to the national headquarters of the APC. Let me allow you to listen to one of the protesters.
The issue with this party affairs were from North Central. We felt that it is our birthright, because ever since the democratically elected ESCOs, you could remember the first democratically elected chairman is from North Central. So after the truncation, why is it going to Northwest? Northwest is not the only zone existing in Nigeria. North Central is actually also part of it, and North Central is even the people who actually are supposed to gain this thing. So we are agitating that North Central should get this position for fairness.
So you heard it. On one hand, there is allegations of fraud and investigation in Kano, the home state of Mr. Abdullahi Ganduje, and those who are saying that is threatening the leadership of the party. Let's talk about this, everyone, shall we? The implications of what this means for the future of Nigeria's ruling political party, the APC. I'm being joined by one person who also wanted to be the national chairman of the party, and our former state chairman of the APC is Mr. Sonny Sylvester Monidafe. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Nigerians. Good evening, Abuja.
What is happening to your party?
A lot, but it's not a lot because Mr. Ganduje refused to see reason. With due respect, I think I was here on AIT when the president made him the national chairman. And I made some observations. We had a process that took place on the 22nd of April 2022. And it had been zoned, chairmanship was zoned to North Central. We have 7 states in North Central, including the FCT. I'm aware that Kano is not among. Suddenly we were told that they have shifted the chairmanship to Northwest. I'm like, why? I made an observation there. I said, look, if we do this thing, it's like I said, a bad precedence. Other states might come up. And truly it came up. Because shortly after, I got a call from Adamawa State that, look, they not allow the national deputy national chairman not to stay in Borno State when the vice president is from Borno. I said, okay, what do you want to do? They said they're trying to get somebody. I said, no. If you must get somebody, it has to be me or Senator Abubakar Giri. How important are the 2 of us? The 2 of us paid 10 million naira, which has not been refunded till today. So 2 things, our personal desires and then the party. Right now in Ondo State, there were primaries that held on Saturday. Even the various aspirants are crying that they were cheated. So what do we do now? What do we do now? We have to really make sure that we don't allow a party to overrun, because right now, if the party wants to write it to INEC, there will be a lacuna, because as of the day they conduct the primaries, our chairman, Ganduje, had been taken to court. Whether he vacated it then or not, I don't know, but he had been taken to court. So, will we allow that to go on? I don't think we should. Let's just come back to the fact that we are zoned this position to North Central. I have nothing against Ganduje. Honestly, I don't even know him. But I have tried to see him 11 times and counting. We have about 6-7 of us that aspired to various positions at the convention last 2 years. And I have President Buhari's letters, message here. This is from the Punch. He said, if anybody agrees to step down voluntarily, refund this money. This is from Vanguard. And now I have written letters. We have written letters, so many letters.
For the refund of
our monies, yes.
At the time?
Yes, up to now it's not been refunded.
But there are those who will say, look, I've had someone who spoke and said, look, whatever is happening to Ganduje is a politics of Kano State.
Well, unfortunately, this is Nigeria. There are 36 states apart from Kano, making 37. There are other states. And the issue is, how can you give it to Northwest when you have Deputy Senate President, and then I also the Deputy Senate President is from the same constituency as Ganduje? It's not right. You have the Speaker from Northwest.
But why is this coming now?
Now,
because it does look like when Mr. Ganduje was appointed to become the national chairman of the party, there isn't so much of opera. Because you look at the former national chairman who is from Nasarawa State, those who will say, well, rightfully, a replacement should be from that same area. But there are those who also will say that, look, it was a child of necessity. The situation was a situation that the party needed someone who has an administrative capacity to be able to lead the party, and that's why they went for Mr. Ganduje.
Sure, I don't have any issue against Ganduje, I don't. But talking about administrative capacity, even myself, I think I have a lot of capacity. I didn't get it. Now, if you must give it to somebody, for Christ's sake, leave it remain in the zone. Somebody was telling me, like you heard, I also heard that somebody said that before President Tinubu did what he did, he called a NEC meeting or whatever, and I said, what about us? Whatever it is, even if we are not NEC members, we are not working committee members or whatever, the fact that we paid money, we should not be refunded. We should have been involved. Call us. I said, look, expediency, we have to do ABCD. Convince us. We agree. You move on. But most importantly, give us back our money. Sheung, I paid 10 million naira last 2 years. That amount is up to 100 million naira. Minus even my money for going around the whole of Nigeria for 21 months. 21 months I went around. Other aspirants. Nothing was done. We're taking for granted. It shouldn't happen. But let me tell you one thing before you come in. President Tinubu is someone that I've worked with since 2006. I was in ACD when AD was messed up by the former president, Obasanjo. From 6 states, we only had 1 state, Lagos State. We used to call Tinubu the last man standing because he resisted all the tricks of Obasanjo and remained. By the time we merged with APC, to form APC, we had got 7 states, I think, then. So this man should not allow himself to be deceived. I mean well. I've been in the progressives since I came back to politics in 2006. I was chairman of ACN. I was in the campaign of Buhari, 2015, 2019. I aspired for national chairman, and I gave my 5-point agenda. Number 1 among them is reward system, 0 in this party. Number 2 is like, if
you don't think those who say well, the Tinubu government may be better than the Buhari government in terms of, when you say reward, is allowing those who actively play politics in the party to get political appointment?
Sure, I'm not being selfish, but I'm here. Let me tell you that if I say we don't have a reward system, believe me, it will be 11 months on the 29th of April. 11 months since he took over. Who has he appointed? With due respect to a person, I respect him a lot. Let me tell you one thing now. People are scared of civil servants. I said it earlier, I'll say it today. I'm scared of civil servants. But unwittingly or whatever, we have left Nigeria in the control of civil servants for 11 months. With due respect, I call them evil servants. They are for themselves. You come in there, eventually they will fight you to hell. 11 months we've been doing that. Now forget about other people. You know Michelle. You called me to come here. I'll Arise, Channels, AIT, name them. I knew you guys before APC, way back then. Have that connection. Use me. No. I was chairman of ACN. People said I will do it. I have not moved. I'm still, and we are many. But meanwhile, let's forget about me. Let's talk about North Central. If we want to maintain, for Christ's sake, you zone these things originally. The process of this primaries, Congress has started in 2022. Has not ended because we now had Abdullah Adamu, who was made to resign. He resigned. If you not microzone it like you did for Abdullah Ganduje. At least, I'm not, Abdullah Adamu, give it to North Central State. What did they do? Moreover, by the way, I've been in Abuja for 26 years. I only went back to Adama to contest. So I could have claimed Northwest. I mean, North Central. I'm from Northeast. My father was from South. Urobo, from Agbaro, the Tota of Agbaro Kingdom. But I was born in Jamaica, Jagaba of Jamaica. That's my home. I'm a Nigerian. I'm here. People are not over that be used.
But let me ask you, under the Ganduje administration of the APC, do you find any fault in his style of leadership and the manner in which things are going?
The fault I'll find is that urge to only reward people coming from outside, the campees. I went to the secretariat last week to do a few, just to look at. I saw banners all over the place. Welcome the campees. What about us that work for this party? Look at the mistake they made with due respect to my friend, Baba Ahmed. When the Northern Elders Forum were lambasting Tinubu, they didn't talk. Mutawali, the Minister of State for Defense, you have to challenge them. Look, you guys must speak for this government. Why does it keep doing that? We are here. We sacrificed everything. We know the workings of the APC.
So these are lamentations of people within the APC who feel that they work for the party, but they would not be rewarded.
Sure, you call it if you like, but I'm speaking for myself in that aspect. But the main thing is that we zone this position to the North Central zone. Give it there, for Christ's sake.
All right.
We have a PDP now. PDP, here are you. Two things. Now people say, who are the world chairman? They are our bosses. Number two, North Central. After some while, some people started agitating. Now the PDP has called a meeting and said, by August, bring somebody, not only from North Central, from Benue State. Why can't we do the same thing?
So you think, I mean, if you are asking for the exit of Abdullah Ganduje, how would that happen?
I don't know. I'm just saying that
procedurally.
I'm just saying that the president should do the right thing. Come back and say, look, this zoning was wrong in the first place. Giving this to Ganduje, it was wrong. They have people who are competent from North Central Zone. Give it to them. It was wrong. Is it too much to say you are wrong? I don't think Tinubu is like that. Tinubu accepts his mistakes and he acts immediately. Look, Nigerians are suffering. Let me be honest. For the first time, I've had to speak against my party's policies and I feel strange. Shehu, Borno, Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, Adamawa, Taraba are in darkness now about 5 days. And temperatures in the area, 46, 47 degrees Celsius. No light, no water, nothing. We were sitting out here, they said, in fact, we had a break of fast with President Tinubu last 2 weeks. And then, before we left for the villa, we had news all over the place that they had increased tariff price of electricity. Really? And then they said, I live in a semi-detached apartment. And semi-detached, and then I am band B. My neighbor is band A. Can you beat that? I mean, you should have done these things before even implementing it.
So you don't think that this government under your party,
it's my government,
is tending towards the needs and aspirations of the Nigerian people?
Honestly, I have to admit right now, as per power, and then this petrol, right now there's no petrol in town. I don't know what happened.
There are queues now.
In fact, you go to the place, you can get fuel. And it's in massive queues. It's as if they brought the price down. It's still 600-700 naira. What is happening? Tinubu, please, President Tinubu, I'm an ACN member from way back. I'm not speaking against you. I'm just telling you the truth. So if you remember, I came here and talked about El-Rufai. I said, we need somebody who will tell the president to his face, sir, people are suffering. He was not appointed. With due respect to other ministers, maybe they are scared of telling the truth. I'll not be scared, I'll tell the truth. You know why? Nigerians have one thing in mind, and I always talk against it. We pray every meeting, Christian prayers, Muslim prayers. When we finish praying, we tell God to stay aside. I'll help myself. If God says something is not your own, no matter what you do, you won't get it. Get it by force, you are your own. In our side, they say, Abon Kwado, Bata Hawan Sama. Sometimes a frog will eat, doesn't climb, but if it goes up, it will come down. Now, Nigerians should please, I beg you in the name of God, wake up. We are working towards, we are fulfilling scriptures every day in Nigeria. Because I've been selfish. I don't have a house in Abuja. This is my 26th year here. I was chairman of, I've been in several committees. I refuse to do things that will make Nigerians suffer. For somebody to get a house, get houses, have billions of naira, what do you want to do with that one? What do you want to do with it?
I mean, if there is something, because when we imagine that the policies of the party should be able to drive the focus of the government that it bets.
It should.
But do you think that the party is in synchronym with the government of the day?
The party right now, I don't even know because I have stopped going to the secretariat. But right now, with Ganduje there, with this committee he had on his head, he will not even dare tell the president, Mr. President, ABCD. It's like, yes, sir, whatever you say. If the president says jump, you say, how high? We don't want that.
So the party cannot even check the activities?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because if somebody asked me that question one day, why can't the party promote your candidature for your appointment? I said, well, the party cannot speak because they are scared of the president, maybe. See, Mr. President, Nigerians are suffering. I respect you, sir. I respect you. But Nigerians are going through stuff. President Tinubu is not a magician. He can't know. So somebody must tell him, sir, Nigerians are going through stuff. They're not telling him, apparently. Because, Nigerians are going through stuff.
But when we imagine that people in your party will say the reason why they voted President Tinubu is because they thought that the APC and the candidacy of the President Tinubu is better than the options that other party presents. But, I mean, will those people be proven wrong now with what you're saying?
I will still stand with Tinubu any day, any time, because he is the best candidate. With due respect, see Peter Obi or my friend Atiku Abubakar, with due respect. With due respect, I will still stand for Tinubu. But right now, I don't think President Tinubu has full control of what's happening. Some people are telling him that do this. It's not right. For example, when they were met in the villa for the break of fast with the president, a woman spoke for the women, Senator Grace Bent. God bless that lady. She told the president that nobody should even think that we're trying to do anything. Whatever we demand for, we deserve it. We worked for it. Having said that, I will still vote for Tinubu, but right now I don't want you to make it harder for us to sell him. So you remember a story. When we were going for the convention, in fact, I was called from Eagle Square to go to the Senate President's guest house, former Senate President Ahmed Lawal. And I was told to step down I said, I made an observation. I said, look, I left the Eagle Square right now. After that, I made a foregone conclusion, they will give him national chairman. I knew that Northwest not bring out a Christian. I told my Northeast leaders, with due respect, I have the capacity, I have everything. I have my plans, everything ready. Give me national chairman not. I said, chairman, we are sorry, kaza, kaza. I said, okay, I kept quiet. But ask me a question. How will you sell the APC in a Christian community? Nothing has been done. Now, with due respect, we have had people, and I'm like, what's happening to these guys?
To wrap up the conversation, what is the implication of the state of your party right now for the nearest future?
Every party has its problems. We can solve it. If the president has a will, and he has the will, he will solve it. President Tinubu has one gift. It doesn't feel too big saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It doesn't. But right now,
there are those who are saying that what the national chairman said to some of them was that he said when the president arrived and he told him about the situation in regards to Kano, he said he should not worry, he should not worry about it. But it doesn't look like nothing is going to happen. It's going to be like a storm in the teacup, and this will pass away, isn't it?
Okay. Well, if they want to take our agitation, I am a major stakeholder in the APC. You know that. I was chairman of ACN in Abuja. We were in the formative stage of the APC. I've been all over the place. If the president would think that my own comment now is a storm in the teacup, too bad. Because right now, North Central Zone deserves this position.
All right.
The people that remain now, the people that aspire for national chairman, pay 20 million naira each. I paid 10 million naira. You've not given us our money back. You are saying that, come on, Shehu. I don't think President Tinubu.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sonny Sylvester Monindafe, Jagaban Jimeta.
Yes.
Thank you so much indeed.
My pleasure.
For your time tonight. I appreciate it. But that's our show for today. I'll see you on Sunday at 8 p.m. God willing. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm sure Kimale. God bless you.